Okay, good morning. We'll go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 regular meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, Sacramento Area Sewer District, and I ask for a roll call, please.
Good morning. Member Aquino? Here. Karpinski Costa?
Present.
Desmond?
Here.
Frost?
Here.
Hume?
Here.
Kaplan?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Swin?
Here.
Valenzuela?
Here.
Villegas? Here. And you have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. Would you please address the flag and join Director Villegas in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. And now if the clerk would please read the statements and public comment procedures.
This meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and Sacramento Area Sewer District is being broadcast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will replay Sunday, September 17th at 9 a.m. on channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. In accordance with Government Code 54952.3, compensation for meeting of these legislative bodies is required to be verbally disclosed. The amount of $100 will be paid for each member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, and the amount of $100 will be paid for each board member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Area Sewer District. Compensation for Sacramento County supervisors and City of Sacramento council members is paid to the county and city respectively to partially offset the cost of those governments. Compensation for other board members is delivered to the individuals. To make an in-person public comment, please complete a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The clerk will call your name when it is your turn to make a comment. To make a public comment by phone, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific off-agenda item. Clerk will transfer each caller into the meeting. You may be on hold for an extended period of time, and your patience is appreciated. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. And that concludes the clerk's announcements.
Whew. Thank goodness you're reading that. Okay. I think that brings us to item number 1, the section 1, the consent matters, items 1 through 3. Does any director have an item they wish to be pulled or mentioned for discussion?
Move approval, Frost.
Second. All right, a motion from Director Frost, second from Director Desmond. Are we voting electronically or by voice?
Electronically, please.
Very good.
Thank you. And the motion carries by unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will move on to public comment for items not on the agenda. Unless Mr. Costa has a comment, I see no other members of the public in the room, so we will go ahead and dispense with that. Item 5, we do not have enough people in order to do that vote. Does that throw us, given that this is an emergency action, are we going to be able to?
So we can continue just as we did last time. So we'd need a motion to continue to September 27th.
So moved.
Second.
All right, a motion from Kaplan, second from Suen. Please vote.
And the motion carries by unanimous vote with those members present.
All right, we'll try it again next time. On to item number 6, please.
Item number 6 is you're acting as a Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and Sacramento Area Sewer District is an amendment of the Sacramento County Sanitation District's Financing Authority Joint Exercise of Powers Agreement.
I had a PowerPoint.
Metro Cable, the wrong PowerPoint is loaded. We need the PowerPoint for item number 6, please. They're switching it in the back right now.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Tepa Banda, the Director of Finance for the districts. So just to give a brief overview on the County Sanitation District's Financing Authority, this was formed as part of a JPA, the purpose of a JPA in 1993 between Regional San and County Sanitation District number 1 at that time, which is now SAC Sewer. So the purpose of forming the financing authority was really to have an entity that could issue bonds on behalf of the districts in a much more efficient manner. But as you know, last year, your boards approved the merger between the two districts. And since the JPA, which underpins the financing authority, is composed of these two districts that are now merging, it means the JPA would fall off by default. But part of the terms of the original JPA agreement in 1993 was that the JPA could not be terminated. That agreement could not be terminated under no event as long as there are any outstanding bonds. And right now, Regional Sun still has about $1.5 billion in bonds outstanding, and Saxo has about $160 million outstanding, so which means the JPA has to stay on for the financing authority to continue. So last year, after the decision to merge was made, we explored a number of options on how to proceed. One of them was maybe the merged entity should change the nature of it, so it will become a district. I'm going to leave most of these details, if at all, to counsel or our legal experts. But there was an option to create a district that would have the ability to issue bonds directly. It seemed that was not the most favorable way to go. So the solution that was settled on was to find another entity that would join the JPA. And so we would have 3 parties to the JPA, such that when the 2 existing parties merge, we would still have 2 parties. And so the JPA would survive, and so the financing authority would survive. So I just have a couple graphics here to illustrate what I'm talking about. So right now, those are the 2 parties on top. You have Saxo and Regional Sun forming the JPA, and the purpose of that JPA was to have a financing authority. Each district has its obligations to pay off its debt, and it gets debt proceeds from the financing authority. The financing authority interacts with our bondholders. They issue bonds on behalf of the 2 districts, and once those bonds are out, they make the payments and the principal repayment at the end. And when our bondholders purchase those bonds, that's where our proceeds come from, and they go to the respective district that issued the bonds. So that's where we are today. So as you can see, if Saxo merges with Regional Sun, the 2 parties fall off of that JPA. So the solution that we arrived at was to find another entity, and there were a number of suggestions thrown through, but we were lucky enough to reach out to Central Sun, and they were also in need of wanting to be part of a financing authority, because they're essentially formed similarly to us, and a financing authority is a more efficient way for them as well to raise bonds. So we had our interests aligned there. And so if Saxo falls off after the merger and joins Regional Sun, we'll still have 1 party on the left, and the structure will remain the same. The financing authorities' obligations would still be the same. They would issue bonds on behalf of the 2 entities now, which would be Saxo and Central Sun. And each district would be responsible for its own debt. So the fact that we have Central Sun doesn't confer any liabilities on our part. We would still only be responsible for paying our debt and issuing our debt, just doing it through the financing authority. So before you today, I think the actions that we're looking for would be to authorize this amendment, and then we also need this new financing authority, because we have a new entity now, kind of has to change. The composition is going to change. Right now, I believe the financing authority board is also the same as the Regional Sun's board. But with another party, Central Sun, it's the financing authority board will be made up of members from each side, Central Sun and Saxo. And we're proposing to appoint the chair and the vice chair to represent the district on that board, and then alternates as well, and then to also adopt the resolutions that we have attached in your packet. So that's my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Very good. Thank you. Tepa, any questions? Yes, Director Frost.
I just want to make sure I understand. What is the geographic location of Central San?
It's in Contra Costa County. So the full name, is Central Contra Costa Sanitary District. So they are based in Martinez, California, just across the Delta Bridge.
Okay, and the way it would work is it would be a JPA. I haven't with both entities on a separate ledger, basically, but using the same finance authority and bonding capacity. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
There we go. Apologies if this is a repeat, but I just want to make sure I understand. Can you explain the nexus for Central San to this board, or maybe there doesn't need to be? There just needs to be. It just needs to be part of this, so we can issue bonds.
Yes. So a JPA can be formed between any two public agencies, who are interested in the same purpose. So
there's no project nexus or anything like that. Even geographically, we don't need to have any type of nexus there.
No, I believe they have to be in California. That's it. I think the only requirement, and that they also need it for the same purpose that we need it. So we have a common purpose, and we're both public entities, and we're in California.
Yep. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
This is probably not a good question, but I'm just trying to figure out why we have to have a JPA. Why can't we just issue bonds without a JPA? Why do we have to have two entities joined together with a JPA?
So I think that's mostly a legal question. I'll make an attempt. Diane, would you want to take that on?
So in order to, the government code requires the district to have a JPA in order to have the authority to issue bonds. And so a JPA necessitates at least two governmental entities in California with the same powers to join together to form that JPA for financing.
It's a state code?
Government code section. I don't have the specific section, but it's Division 7 of Title I of the Government Code.
Of the state or federal?
State.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, one advantage from a financing point of view is that we could issue revenue bonds without requiring a vote of the public. So it's a much more expedient way to issue bonds, given the structure of our districts.
So does this dilute our local authority? Do now, as a result of this JPA, do they have a vote on decisions relating to our side of the P&L?
No. So the way this has been functioning will stay the same. The way it is now, SACSUA board has all the decisions that they need to make for debt of SACSUA as well as in Regional San. The two boards, so SACSUA, for example, would make a decision to issue debt. That decision is not subject to Regional San's board.
But the JPA board would have to vote on it, so we would need their approval to issue our debt.
Right.
Correct?
Right. But I believe in our terms of agreement, because that debt has no bearing on the other party, there is no reason for the other party to have any material say in that matter.
I want to ask counsel, is that correct? It's the JPA board, then SACSUA votes separately for their side of the ledger versus, or does the JPA board? I'm just trying to understand it.
Right, I understand. I don't have the JPA agreement in front of me to be able to look at. I can get back to you on the voting parameters of each board.
But the fact of the matter is that Sac Sewer will not be able to issue debt, and in fact will be in default of certain provisions of the government code once it becomes one district, if it does not join with Contra Costa and have them substitute in for one of our districts to keep the JPA whole. So I can get back to you on the voting requirements, but I don't have that at my fingertips at this point.
So this is necessitated, so if I may,
Yeah, sure.
this is necessitated because of the merger of our districts.
Yes.
That we need to bring a new district into the
Right.
fold in order to keep
Because
that
it
JPA.
takes two
Sure.
districts
Sure.
to form the JPA. We're
And it's
becoming
joint,
one.
yeah.
And so we have outstanding debts. We have to keep the JPA in place, and this is the only way to do it. But practically, I wouldn't think that, and again, I can get back to you on the voting requirements, but practically, I don't think that there would be an issue with our district needing to issue debt that does not affect Contra Costa, and vice versa, quite frankly, because they need us too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't join us at the hip, like if they go down, it impacts us in some way. Is that correct?
Well, I don't really understand what you mean by if they go down. I suppose
That's
if they
kind
need,
of a redneck talk.
if they need to somehow vacate the JPA, then our district will look for another party to keep the JPA whole so that our district can continue to honor the debt it's already issued and continue to issue debt in the future.
But we're not attached to their debt, and they're not attached to ours
No.
in any way.
No.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Great,
So
thank you.
the financing authority is a separate and legal entity from the two districts. So that's just to add to that point. So their finances, assets, and liabilities have no bearing on us, just as ours don't. And in the agreement, they would have to give us notice if they would like to leave the JPA. So we have enough time to find another party to keep it in existence. Because at this point, we need it more than they do. They have not issued any debt through the financing authority. We have, so we have to have it in existence. And so essentially, they are helping us by joining they're providing us the solution to keep the financing authority alive. Just one small note, because they're not from Sacramento, we're also proposing to change the name of the agreement to Northern California Sanitation Agency's Financing Authority. But all the other terms remain the same.
Director Costa?
I think that's working. So are we, I know that we're approving the actual joining with the Contra Costa Sanitation District. Are we also approving the agreement that you said that you would let us know terms? Are we approving that agreement at the same
We're-
time that we haven't seen?
Yes, we're approving an amendment to the agreement to simply substitute in Contra Costa for the Regional Sanitation District. Okay, so because as of January 1st, we become one district. And so upon that happening, there will be no
So we're
regional
approving all- okay, so we're
sanitation
approving all of
district.
the above. All
So
right.
it's a really simple amendment, quite frankly. It's substituting in another
Well,
party.
with government, we always make things bigger than they are.
Yeah. I tried to put that graphic just to show what's changing. Saxo is moving on to the right, becoming part of Regional Sun, and then we have Central Sun. I think that's the most substantive change that's happening for us to keep our financing authority alive.
Attachment D is the amended agreement. Isn't that correct, Council?
Yeah, the C is the original, then we have D, which is the amended, so you could see the few parts that are changed.
Okay. Any further questions at this point? Is there a motion? What is the will of the board?
So moved.
All right, okay. We'll go moved by Sun, seconded by Frost. Please.
So as part of the motions you need, we to authorize the amendment is one of them.
Okay.
But it's also to appoint a chair and vice chair
Okay.
of this board to serve on the board of directors for the financing authority, and then to also appoint alternates for those two members. So I think at this point, we're looking for volunteers.
Okay, so very good. We need 2 representatives to be named as alternates, is what we're looking for at this point.
I wonder if it makes sense, oh, okay. I was just going to say, I wonder if it makes sense to have the chair and vice chair of Regional Sand to just automatically fill those
Well,
positions.
they will
or-
fill the actual director positions. Now we need 2 alternates. So
got
Director
it.
Desmond has volunteered, so maybe perhaps somebody from one of the cities. Okay, so we have Director Desmond and Director Aquino. Would the maker amend their motion? to
Yes,
include that?
absolutely,
And
yep.
and the seconder as well? Okay, is that fair enough?
Yes.
All right, now we can vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council, for clarifying that.
And the motion carries by unanimous vote.
Very good. That concludes business for the day. So now we move on to the director and/or district engineer matters.
I'll go ahead.
Sure.
So just real quick, we have a meeting in 2 weeks. That's September 27th. And then I just wanted to mention, we were talking about the merger a little bit. SB 882 is the Local Government Omnibus Act of 2023 has been chaptered, so it is law now. Within that act, it basically establishes our name and governance structure as a single merged entity, and it will take effect on January 1st, 2024. So the only step left is the final approval through LAFCO, and that actually it's contingent on LAFCO's approval. So that's a little bit of good news, another box checked along the way.
Good. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does.
Brevity is appreciated. Any director comments? No? In that case, that concludes the business for the County Sanitation District.
Yes.
And we move on to the Sacramento Area Sewer District. We have one consent item. Is there any member of a Sacramento Area Sewer District that wishes to comment on that item? Move consent. All right, a motion from Desmond, second from Kennedy. Please vote yes. This is only sewer district directors.
Thank you. And the motion carries by unanimous vote of the members present.
Very good. And I have a highlighted section that says, direct the clerk of the board to provide the real estate division with 3 executed copies of the original resolution.
Will do.
All right, another box checked. And the rest is miscellaneous matters, communications received and filed. Thus concludes our business for the day. Thank you for your time.
Well, that was quick.